Good morning. How are you? Really, how are you? You don't have to answer me. You don't have to put it out there. But think about it. How are you? Not just on the surface. Not just health-wise, but that's important. So how's that? Checking those boxes. And then how are you in the inside? How's your heart and mind doing? Are they talking to each other? Interesting, huh? Let's see if this one has anything good to say today. June 17th. The art of being wise is the art of the art of being wise is the art of knowing what to overlook. William James got kudos for saying that. It's not unusual to panic when we recognize some of the mistakes we have made and the years of practice we have put into unwittingly handicapping our own self-esteem. But panic is the last thing we need when we sincerely want to turn our lives around. Building self-esteem means unearthing the truth and getting to know our own history and the forces that have made us who we are. In the process of self-discovery, we inevitably come face to face with those mistakes and behavior patterns that cause our unhappiness. Sometimes these new insights make us feel even worse about ourselves than we did before. How could I have been so stupid, we may groan. I must be the dumbest person on the planet. My life is wasted. It is too late. But it's never too late, and almost nothing is fatal. What was learned can be unlearned. Old habits can be overturned and replaced by new positive habits. The only requirement is the courage to think and act in a new way, that the willingness to reach out to other caring, growing people. With such new resources, we are in a position to rewrite our own glorious history. Ow, that hurt me. Stop. With such new resources, we are in a position to write our own glorious history from here on out. I can fly into the future if I have the past behind. Wow. You have got to stop. I'm glad he doesn't bring that moment. Okay, I can't handle it. I can't handle that noise that makes my teeth want to hurt. I love watching you, but it's right in my ear. I'm sorry, honey. Okay, you can get it. You can get it. You can go out there and have it. Oh my God, that one bite. Oh, that just... Oh, no. Sorry, baby. Oh, he's going to feel so betrayed. Probably not. He's a dog. He's going to go, where else can I bear this bone? No. Oh, that hurt my teeth. Oh. I don't even know what I read listening to that. The art of being wise is the art of knowing what to overlook. Oh, that's good. That's a good morsel right there. Building self-esteem means unearthing the truth and getting to know our own history and the forces that have made us who we are. In the process of self-discovery, we inevitably come face to face with those mistakes and behavior patterns that cause our unhappiness. See, that's what the fourth step is about in AA, in recovery programs. And sometimes these new steps make us feel even worse about ourselves than we did before. But that's why there's step 5, 6, and 7. And then 8 and 9. And 10. The steps really do support each other. If you do them in procession, each step supports the next one coming up. It's very interesting. I gotta put on some makeup. It was such a beautiful walk out today. Well, see what this one says. Deep down within us, we found the great reality deep down within us. In the last analysis, it is only there that he may be found. Search diligently within yourself. With this attitude, you cannot fail. The consciousness of your belief is sure to come to you. That's some deep stuff right there. It was out of the depths of loneliness, depression, and despair that I sought the help of AA as I recovered and began to face the emptiness and ruin of my life. I began to open myself to the possibility of healing that recovery offers through the AA program. By coming to meetings, staying sober, and taking the steps, I had the opportunity to listen with increasing attentiveness to the depths of my soul. Daily I waited in hope for gratitude, for that sure belief and steadfast love that I longed for in my life. In this process, I met my God as I understand him. It was out of the depths of loneliness, depression, and despair that I sought the help of AA. One of the interesting things about recovery groups, and there's a recovery group for just about anything. Codependence Anonymous. You don't have to be an alcoholic or addict. You don't have to have an alcoholic or addict in your family, like you know, or loved one of some kind, like Al-Anon, or adult children of alcoholics. You know, if you're somebody who's codependent, that's a whole ball game of its own. And it is such a lonely place to be. And some people show their, and loneliness can be a type of grief, a type of mourning. There's a lonely that feels like boredom, and some people don't know the difference. So they say lonely when they're really bored and they don't know how to entertain themselves. They don't know how to, they just haven't been taught how to get out and find something to do, whether it's volunteer work. Nobody has to know. I mean, one time I was bored, a long time ago. I hardly ever get bored anymore, but so I got a trash bag together and went and picked up litter. Just walked my neighborhood that I lived in at the time and picked up litter. Had rubber gloves, the whole thing, several pairs in my little bag, bug spray. Not only did I do something good without bragging about it, I did something good for my area around me. I got a little outdoor air, some strolling exercise. I've been feeling a little goat hair here for 2 days. I gotta get it. Sorry. Oh, I see it. That was a long one. Why didn't anybody tell me? Come on, somebody had to have seen that. So, oh my goodness. So I think that, yeah, it's interesting how when we're lonely, it's a weird kind of sadness. And I think it's important to be able to get to know ourselves on a deep level. Kind of like how the first reading was talking about getting to know yourself. Good and bad. It doesn't have to be bad. It doesn't have to be, oh, my positive affirmation. No. It's about truly, it's kind of like fall in love with a beautiful woman or a handsome man, and then but you don't know them, right? I'm asking you to experiment with getting to know yourself, your story, what makes you who you are. Now, not everybody's cut out for it. Not everybody's going to want to do that. That's fine. But sometimes you can get a really deep appreciation for the journey you've been on and how you've been able to make it to where you have been, regardless of this, regardless of that, regardless of them, regardless of those. How you got to be where you're at in your journey. Are there some regrets? Is there some mourning and grieving there too? That's interesting, right? What I have found out is I was so hard-headed. My gosh, if I didn't learn when I did, who knows what would have happened to me? I would have not gotten to enjoy, I don't think, as much as I have. Oh my God, I just need to shave. Look at all that. I'm growing a mustache, and I don't care what you say. Not grown up till you had a mustache. Well, we all have our blemishes, one way or another, I suppose. One way or another, none of us is perfect. I was talking about loneliness a moment ago. I think it's a big deal because a lot of people don't realize that sometimes when they're mad, it is because they don't feel seen, they don't feel understood, right? That's a form of loneliness too. If you're serious, if you're just mad and throwing your weight around, that's not what I'm talking about. You don't get me, you don't understand, you're not listening. No, I mean, there are some people who, on a deeper level, feel that nobody understands them. For instance, when I had cancer giving me problems, nobody wanted to talk about it. Even if I brought it up. Be like, yeah, my liver's been giving me troubles with the medication I'm taking and the mold in my house. And oh, I just want to scream sometimes. And whoever I was talking to, there were only a couple people I experimented with it. And then I realized that it's not fair to mere mortals to expect them to try to carry something that heavy. And they would say, oh, did you get that mold cleaned up under your house yet? They couldn't say the word cancer. I grew up in a time when people didn't like hearing that word. But when I was a kid too, divorce was the D word. Cancer was the C word. That's true. Yeah. I hope we don't get disconnected early, because I'm getting a lot of messages. Sorry about that. I know I'm rubbing hard, but it's because my skin's so baggy, it looks like I'm rubbing harder than I am. And it just feels so good. to get that facial massage. Not as good as someone else doing it for me, but it does feel good. Anyway, sometimes it's that lonely place where people just don't understand. And alcoholics, they get it. People who are in an unhappy relationship and they're not quite sure what to do, they don't want to necessarily leave. They're wandering about staying, and they don't want to keep telling their friends they're having trouble because they don't want them to be mad at the partner. Especially when you're caretaking, people don't want to hear you complaining about somebody that you're taking care of, because it affects them from their personal standpoint. And they can be very judgy. They're like, well, of course he's grumpy. Of course he's sarcastic. Okay, come on, baby. Good boy. Without that bone. Good. Good, good, good. So it can be lonely. If you have cancer, if you're taking care of somebody else. And sometimes it's not like we're trying to condemn the person we're taking care of. We're lonely because that's all we do. And we just want to be able to vent sometimes. Well, I do have to agree. Some people vent in a very ugly way. And if the person you're taking care of is abusive, and I've experienced that, where I'm sure I came off like, oh, cruel, because I'm just like, I can't believe blah, 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 blah. I do so much, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes you just don't know. I'm sorry. You don't know what you don't know till you know. So yeah, a lot of humans are going around lonely because they don't feel seen. They don't feel heard. I better turn on my curling. So are you lonely? And if you are, write down the reasons why you think you are. Write down all the things that you think nobody sees in you, or that you wish people knew about you, or hey, maybe even have a space where you write down the secrets that you're afraid you might share if you get to know somebody or they get to know you. Do an internet search. Figure out what people might find out about you if you're that worried about making friends. And if they got to know me, they wouldn't want to be friends with me. Well, get to know you, right? Like, I've made mistakes in my past, but I've gotten to know myself enough that if someone's not understanding some things I've been through, on one hand, well, it's cool, man. On the other hand, I'm not going to let anybody punish me for not being perfect. Because I've already done that. I've already been there. Right? If you have something going on in your past that you're afraid somebody will get to know it well enough that you know your story, you know what you've done about it, you know where you're going. And people with any kind of spiritual condition, you know, that they are growing into, those are the kind of people you want to be friends with. And they're the kind of people who are going to understand more. So you're actually looking at, you may not be looking at bunches and bunches of friends, but you're looking at quality over quantity. That's what I'm talking about. It's fun having a whole bunch of people enjoy your company. I mean, that's fun. Is it necessary? No. Now, there are some people who don't want to be intimate friends, but they like the crowd. They like the party. You know, that's another part of getting to know yourself. What kind of person are you? Would you rather have, say 20 shallow friends so you can get together? Or are you kind of more social? Maybe, and then just have one close friend? Or do you like to have a small group, like say 4 or 5, 6 at the most, closer friends that you depend on for different things that are important to you? You know, these are important things to know about yourself. I didn't know these things about myself because one of the things that would happen is I just wouldn't go out, and then somebody would finally talk me into going out. And then I'd have such a good time. But then I'd be exhausted and wouldn't want to go out again for a long time. And then I finally figured out I was one of those extrovert introverts, or whatever they call it. I don't know. Where, by description, they don't want to go out, but once they do, they have a good time. But then they need a few days to recover. And that's definitely me. Yeah. So, getting to know yourself is very helpful. Very helpful. Why? Look at that hooded eye. So I need to bring that up a little bit. Yeah. That's about right. That's about right. Okay. So what else was I going to tell you? Oh, okay. So once you figure out some of the things about you that you want to get to know, ask yourself, if you had a chance to get to know somebody who had your positive assets, but had those negative assets, would you be willing to be friends with them? Think about it long and hard. Give it time. Wrap your mind around it and truly think about it. If you took, that was one of the helpful things to me. It was very helpful to me. If I took in consideration all of the good things that I would put out there just getting to know people, then found out about the past, about the good and the bad, and even the ugly, would I be friends with that person? Once I wrapped my mind around that, because at first it would be like, maybe not. I don't know. But once I got confident in thinking, yeah, that's her past. No, they didn't have internet when I was messing up big time. So there's not a lot out there on me. But I know me. And that's where the self-esteem comes in, see? It's not what everybody else knows about me. It's what I know about me and how I don't accept it. How I don't appreciate it at all for lessons learned. I find it offensive. Right? So you have to be able to accept, look at those eyebrows. I know they're probably too dark for me, but brush through them a little bit. I love having eyebrows. I didn't have eyebrows for so long, and now that I guess that castor oil must be working, because this is kind of neat. I gotta get, well, we gotta get it where it blends and doesn't look so splotchy. Yeah. All right, I'm done talking. I don't have anything else left. I'm just kind of keeping you around for company. I got nothing. Here's the thing. You are going to find people who will accept you, because once you start absorbing who you've been, how hard it was, exciting it was, the things you had to do to get to be who you are now, who wouldn't want to be friends with that person? I'd want to be friends with me, because I'm a pistol. I'm a hoot. And I have been through stuff. I'd want to hang out with someone like me who's been around the block. Who better to help me get to where I'm going than someone like me? Because I have guts. I'm willing to get into the nitty-gritty. I'm willing to talk about cancer. I'm willing to talk about the fear of death and how scary it is to get sick and not know what it is and then find out it's cancer. I know what it's like to worry if you'll ever find someone in your life again to love you or to give a rat's ass about you, care if you're alive or dead, or to have an emergency contact in your phone or the dentist's office because now your family moved away, your kid moved away, now you don't have a spouse, so you don't really have a local emergency contact. Now what? Right? That's a lonely place to be. Not a lot of people will ever know what that feels like. Like being an adult orphan. I'm basically very lucky because right now, I have a spouse who's coherent enough that if he's awake at all, even if he's in a mood, he'll come help me. I know, baby. I know, baby. Oh. But there was a time for 17 years that I was not married. And if I had a long-term boyfriend, I'd have an emergency contact. But just think about dating so many people that your emergency contact date changes every time you date somebody. And you couldn't use them as an emergency contact unless you were fairly serious, right? So sometimes you just make somebody up. That can be pretty dang lonely. First time I did that, I had tears in my eyes. My heart hurt. Oh, it was so sad. Really was. Really was sad. I even feel sorry for me. And I'm one of the most positive people I know. I really am one of the most positive people I know. And I felt so sorry for me. I had that dentist. It was at the dentist form. Oh my God. So, all right. I gotta get in there. Whatever you're doing, think about what you're thinking about and give a damn. All right. Mwah. Bye for now.